They go against the wheel treads of 253. Look at the size of these babies. And they are cast iron. The iron on steel rather than any kind of asbestos. Yeah, I'm glad you did that. It's too much for me. These are the shoes themselves. They do fit by those pins onto the hangers, onto the rod structure, and they do press against the wheel tread to give brakes to the locomotive.
The only thing that's missing on these is the friction material.
Friction material is on the front of the steel pin. They are ready to, they're repaired, ready to go. The hangers and the rods, notice the massive size of these pieces of equipment. These are all necessary just for the brake system. The piping that you see in here is for the air compressor system. Air, when it's compressed, the molecules get squeezed tightly together. Air gets extremely hot. Hot air doesn't do us any good. We need it to be cooled off. So we run it back and forth through this piping to reduce the temperature. It's a cooler. Those will lay alongside in the footwalk out on the engine, right underneath the boiler. Two more things I want you to see. The sand domes. Sand is very important for locomotive, steam, diesel also. Without sand on a slippery day, on a rainy day, you can't get any traction. Tommy ain't going to help me on this one. I'm going to have to do it. The lid itself is cast iron, and it is heavy. Take a look. It's darker than dark in there. You got no flash on it, but we'll bring you back. This particular steam engine, it's two sand domes because it works just as much in reverse as it does in forward. This is a switch engine rather than a pulling engine, rather than a road engine. Bob, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Richard built this engine. It's a live steamer. This particular one is set up right now for compressed air. The air inside this tank, it's not actually a boiler but an air tank, actually pushes a burst of air on the cylinder, just as we talked about outside, running all the connecting rods around the crank to give us lateral motion. It's caboose, it's tender, the steamer. This is our bling table. And we invite you to take a good close look. These are the rebuilt parts that will go on 253. The steam gauge, the Ashton steam gauge, for instance, the handles, everything that the engineer and fireman will need to know, touch, and do to control the engine.
And also the headlight itself?
That headlight is the rear headlight. That one will go on the tender. Bob Bates was trying to explain to you before that there's a front and rear headlight because this engine does just as much work in forward as it does in reverse. This is HO, this is O. Telegraph, the ancient telegraph from years and years ago, the brass brake handles, all the different.
Now you have the typewriters over there.
Yes, the original foreman's desk was an awful job getting that out of the train car. It was inside, taking up too much room. We had to take it apart and rebuild it once we got it back inside the shop. This is a vertical boiler. It shows you what is inside of 253. Notice the flues. The flues are tubes that carry hot air from the furnace, there will be a fire here, through a compartment full of water where the blue is. The heat from the hot air boils the water into steam, and the steam is what we use, the magic of the expansion of steam, to make work. If you want to ring this one, I'll give you a... Notice, still ringing, you can still hear. The better the bell, and the tighter wound. Notice there are shoulders here on this. The tighter wound is the higher pitch. That's what happened to Liberty Bell. They wound it down so tight to get such a high ring to it that it cracked. They rang it so hard that the harmonics cracked the Liberty Bell. That's what's her problem. Put on things for you like these air trumpets. We'll give you steam whistles. We'll let you turn your audio equipment on, and we'll give you a real show. Across this field, you'll notice in between the green compartments out there are more steam engine parts. The gray cylinder, That is a full air compressor tank. Your ears hurt and make you say, please stop.
Right down there, that gray compressor, that what you can use to blow this little baby right here. That train horn. Make it blow your eardrums out.
The stoves and all that are here, the kaboot stove and station stove. This particular one is really cute. Notice the base on the coffee pot. It fits into the opening so that it won't slide off when there's a rough ride down the bottom of the hack. Be able to snap a padlock on here, and nobody can get inside and tamper with the mechanism itself. This particular one has two aspects, one light above another. There is a plastic 8-inch lens on the outside, Fresnel cut, and also Fresnel cut on the inside. It accepts a 10-volt bulb, which is very small. It's smaller than the bulb in your taillight in your car, which is 12 volts. And it shines, it refines and shines that light through these ridges, through these Fresnel cut ridges. It focuses the beam wherever that mechanism, and if you look around the back again, this mechanism will focus the beam, and here too, notice we can twist, we can loosen and twist. Notice that the power supply is inside a flexible conduit, and we can aim and adjust so that this 10-volt bulb will shine a light from here 2 miles down a track. Now you try to shine your taillight, your 12-volt taillight 2 miles, it ain't going to work. But this baby will shine for an engineer 2 miles.
I remember they did a quiet zone. They did quiet zones on FEC. They say the number of train accidents double than to have it,
We have a steam whistle up here, if you've noticed, and it is hooked to the air compressor. I do not want him to turn it on because it hurts my ears every time I look at it. I'll show you one more thing real quick so that you have idea what to come back for. The piece of junk sitting over in that corner is a baggage wagon. The wagon height is the same height as the floor of the cars, so that when you pull the car up, there is no step up, step down. The step itself, of course, for the guy to get on, is stirrup. The wood is rotten, we will replace that, but the frame is still good, the iron parts can be resalvaged. It's another project. We need somebody who is young, who has skills, works with their hands, and project by project we will restore everything in here. Behind you, this rusted out poor old thing, somebody young with skills with a wire brush can take the rust down, we will prime it, coat it, and repair it. It was firefighting equipment from almost 100 years ago. The large wheels made it easy to roll over uneven terrain. The hose itself would roll up on here, and you could lay out a length of hose and fight a fire with equipment just like this.
This particular one is actually from the Hialeah racetrack, but it is identical to what was at the Hialeah rail yard. They had many just the same. And
steel spokes give great strength, as you know from your bicycle. They can be very thin and still give tremendous strength because of the symmetry. The symmetry from the hub to the rim.
And triangles are noted as the strongest shape.
It's my boy, including the cord that's the rounded part on the top. The height of the top of the diameter is what gives the rolling ability, the great rolling ability. This baby right here, this is the hook off the steam crane from New Smyrna Beach. You can read the tag on the top, 150-ton steam wrecking crane. This is the main hook.
Just guess my weight.
150 ton.
Well, that's the capacity you can lift. But the actual weight is probably anywhere 1 to 2 tons.
That's a big thing.
Because
You're talking
looking at the size of the steel cable, that's a good inch-sized cable.
The cable itself running through this shiv way. Notice that it's cut off. We don't want anybody to get hurt on those loose edges. It's simply sheared off. When they lowered it into Steve's pickup truck, he had a 1-ton pickup truck. The pickup truck went, oh no. And that's how we drove it home from New Smyrna Beach right down 95 to Fort Lauderdale. It's about 3,000 pounds. Give or take. Probably take.
Here I am at Indrio, near Michigan Road, milepost 236.1. I'm here with Steam Engine Tommy, Caboose Mikey, and Jerry Groothouse. We find that 101 is at mile marker 201.7, which is the defect detector, 15 miles away from County Road 512 in Sebastian. It will take about 10 minutes for 101 to get here. 107 leads the train, with 104 trailing behind it.
Six 16.